Welcome back. In chapter 33, I titled it The Journey Stages, because it kind of catalogs all the places that the children of Israel went to and where they encamped. And when I counted that, it was about 44 places during the journey in the wilderness. And I want to talk about two key high points of that particular chapter. Let's go to verses 3 and 4. And in verse 3, it says that the Israelites set out from Ramesses on the 15th day of the first month, the day after the Passover. They marched out boldly in full view of all the Egyptians. Can you believe that? They marched out boldly. The slaves marching out boldly. It says then in verse 4, who were bearing in all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down amongst them. For the Lord had brought judgment on their gods. Every plague that the Lord instituted in Egypt was to bring judgment on that particular God. That is so interesting. And then a final warning comes up towards the end of the chapter, of chapter 33. And it says to the Israelites, it says, drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy all their carved images and their cast idols, and demolish all their high places. And it says to them in verse 55 there, it says, but if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land, those you allow to remain will become barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They will give you trouble in the land where you live. That was a warning. Well, did they heed that warning? When we get to the book of Joshua, we will see that they didn't. And by the time we get to Judges, it now becomes very evident that they really didn't. Okay. Chapter 34. This relates to land distribution. And it gives us a picture of the borders of Israel, from the south going to the west and to the north, and then to the eastern part of that particular land, which kind of meant that they were not allowed to go take over somebody else's land. And in verses 13 and 14, it reminds the children of Israel not to give the R or G or M. Who do you think those are? Yeah, you're right, the Reubenites. The G stands for the Gadites, and the M for the half tribe of Manasseh, who already had their land on the eastern part of the Jordan. And then finally, just as in chapter 1, the Lord gave the children of Israel, through Moses, those who would help to distribute the land. Next, we're going to look at the two final chapters in the book of Numbers. See you as we explore chapters 35 and the final chapter 36. See you in a moment.